How's quarantine been treating you?
It's actually been treating me quite well, to be fair. I mean, I'm more fortunate than others in the fact that I have a gym at home and my dad's my head coach, and I also live with my head coach. So, it makes it a little bit easier. So to be fair, it's made me, sort of work on certain things that I wasn't able to work on beforehand. It means that, in terms of training, I can be a bit more specific to myself as opposed to, you go to a session, you go to a class and you have to train something new or something else. Like I can train something specific that I want to do or I want to learn or whatever. So, and also I think in any sort of situation, whatever you're given, you have to adapt and overcome. You got to find the best way to improve on everything that as best that you can. Like even if, for example, I didn't have, if I wasn't so fortunate to have a home gym and stuff like that, I'd still find ways to train or ways to improve. Even if it may, I've been trying to learn a bit more Lithuanian as well, to try and kind of clean up on my Lithuanian language because obviously it doesn't sound like I'm too much foreign by my accent or anything like that. So you know. Everything's just been going good. At the end of the day, like I say, I'm grateful and thankful to have like loads of people helping me out around me. So yeah, I just feel like I've leveled up even more so than I would have done if quarantine didn't happen. So like I say, it's been a blessing in disguise. As much as it's nuts, not being able to see people and stuff like that. I've still been able to improve myself in many ways.
What's that relationship like? You said your dad's your head coach. That's got to be like great and like you said, you get to train with him all the time. But at the same time, there has to be some like, you're sitting at the dinner table and it's like, okay, Dad, like I just want a cookie. Like, like how does what's that relationship like?
It's a very we've got an amazing relationship, me and my dad. I think really we, like I say, me and him are like best friends. I think that's another big thing with us. Like, we joke around with each other. We can talk serious. We get very excited about what we do. This is not just my career. This is almost like our career. He used to be a fighter back in the day, and it's almost like he's living vicariously through myself, and I love that. I want him to feel like it's his career also and stuff like that. And like I said, I think it's because he brought me up a certain way. He taught me to be disciplined and dedicated, so he doesn't really have to ask me to do much. I mean, yeah, there is some times where you want to have a cookie, you want to do this, but we always talk to each other. We always like console each other on sort of what we want to do. Like if there's a day where I'm overtrained, he'll tell me not to train, or he gives me advice and stuff like that. So, realistically, it's, I know some people butt heads with, if their family members, their coach or something like that, but it's not like that at all. Me and my dad, I've actually enjoyed it in quarantine. Actually, I wasn't necessarily getting the chance to do that as much, like just to hang out with him, because it's more of like a professional thing. Like, we're training and then this, and then I have to rest and I go to another training session. But with now, like, since you're at home all the time, and then you're training predominantly with him and stuff like that, it makes our relationship actually even better. It means we get to, have some downtime. And I really appreciated all of that because, on weekends, after a hard week of training, you're traveling everywhere. After I finish my training, I just want to go see some friends. I want to go do this, do that. And, I realized that I actually almost, didn't hang out with him enough. So it's nice to sort of have that as well. I think the relationship is very professional. And like we, at the end of the day, I'm 26, I'm a man and stuff like that. And he understands that as well. I think that's another big thing that sort of plays into the part. So it's mainly the fact that we sort of determine our next moves with each other. We just talk through everything and it works out. And like I say, I think you can't really have a much better relationship than that, especially as a father-son, going into a fighting arena, where there's a potential to get hurt. So, yeah, it's a really fun and exciting. I'm glad that we can have that excitement together accumulatively.
Your MMA journey is far from normal, I'd say, right? You played basketball, you moved from Lithuania at 3, you lived in the US, you lived in the UK. What's kind of, how was that like? And what was the ultimate decision to take MMA rather than take basketball as your avenue?
Well, I think so. I mean, I started training martial arts when I was 5. My dad started me very young, teaching me kickboxing and sambo, and we won a lot of prestigious events. Like, I was a 4-time British kickboxing champion. So, I've been competing from a very young age, and I've always been doing good in martial arts. And, I competed in some judo tournaments and stuff like that. So I've always been involved in that. So I really had some sort of knack for, competing in the combat arts anyways, just because I've been training it for so long. And then, it came about where, my skill set started improving in basketball. And, when I started playing basketball and, it was just to sort of see, like, can I play other sports? Do I like this? Like, just to try other things. My dad, completely embraced the fact, although he wanted me to do martial arts, he was still embracing the decision for me to go and play basketball. And then I ended up, going to America, playing at the same school, actually, that my coach in England played for back when he was younger. In Louisiana. And I obviously, any basketball player's dream, I take everything very seriously whenever I go and compete in a particular sport. And that was one of my main goals in life, was to be a professional athlete in whatever chosen sport I have, and to compete at the highest level. So I want, as any basketball player does, he wants to play in the NBA, he wants to play in Europe and stuff like that. And, I had a couple of lower level, sort of D3 schools, having a look and liking my skill set. But in reality, I didn't really get any offers. So that's why I ended up coming back home. I mean, in all fairness, I probably could have done better in American football, because I think, like I say, but again, I'd have to learn the rules a little bit better and stuff like that. Like, I was very raw. I'd never played before, and ended up starting on the American football team, not really knowing much about football. So, I had a bit of a knack for it, I think, athletically, which I probably could have built on. But, and as the seasons overlapped, I ended up stopping American football and then concentrating on basketball. So, but I managed to take away a lot of amazing things, like, the strength and conditioning programs that you lot have in America is insane compared to England. Like, you got guys doing clean and power cleans, like 225 pounds for a guy who's like 18 years old. That's insanity. Like, I never seen anything like that in my life. And, for me to come out there and they really embrace that system of, being in the strength and conditioning and stuff, and they take their sports very seriously. So it improved my athleticism, it improved my physicality, improved my mindset as well, mentally, to have to be shouted at by your head coach all the time and stuff like that. So I gained a hell of a lot of experience being out in America, and all those attributes just slowly together connected the dots to where I called my dad, deciding, what are we going to do now? Are we going to go to college, or are we going to... And I said my main goal in life was to be a professional athlete and to compete at the highest level. And I said, well, the last chance I got is to do it in MMA. And I've been watching MMA, and I got really, again, interested in it. So I think I needed that time away to then want to come back. And I think it was very useful, because now I'm so motivated by it. I'm obsessed with it almost. So I think that break was much needed. But then as soon as I got home when I was 18, that was it. Straight away, MMA train all the way.
Yeah, so you're now 10-2. You started off your career solid 4-0, and you had 2 back-to-back losses. What did you learn from those losses that you changed into your game to really go on a tear and get 6 straight wins, picking up the Cage Warriors world title? What lessons did you learn in those 2 fights?
Well, the first fight, I learned that it's as much of a mental game as it is a physical game and a skills-wise game. You have to be confident in your own abilities. You have to train very hard. You have to try and improve as much as you can. But at the same time, if you're not there on the day, or something's wrong, or something in your personal life or whatever, it's going to affect you in the cage, or you're not going to be able to show yourself out. What I learned, I think one of the main things that I learned is that you need to have a bit of a killer instinct, or maybe it's not the same for everyone, but it is for me. I learned that I need to have a killer mindset where it literally is, this guy's about to hurt me, I'm going to make sure I hurt him before he's able to do that. Or you go into a cage really badly wanting to hurt a person until the bell rings. I think that aggressive sort of violent mentality is something that I needed to bring out the best of me. I think in that first fight, I was sparring with John Jones, going round after round, us going at it, in the training room and having such amazing experiences out there. Him, praising me was like my idol, pretty much, like praising me and stuff like that. Like, it meant so much to me having that guy, and for me, even just being able to train with him was an absolute honor. So having those experiences, you almost feel like you're on top of the world. And then for me to go in there and mentally just not be there, not perform, and just it was what I realized is there was a bit of aggression, but I didn't even realize that at that point. Then it took the second loss for me to really understand that, because they got me an opponent, and I was beating him the whole fight, and then I got caught with a right hand, and again I came into that fight without that aggressive mentality. I was like, I just got to win somehow, as opposed to I want to really put some damage on this guy. And I think in the fighting sense, that's what you need. So I changed my nutrition. That was one of the main big things. I realized that I was cutting weight in a very unsafe manner. I was nutritionally not fueling my body to perform. I added in strength and conditioning, which my dad took over. That was a massive big thing that we added to the system, which really helped me. I really started to fill out and get strong in certain areas. I was actually overtrained. That was another big thing. A lot of fighters, and especially younger fighters, if I can give any advice, this would be one of them, which is, if your body is seriously on the brink of destruction, do not train. If you're going into a session really not caring or not thinking you're just thinking, oh, when's the end of this session so I can go home, that's not the right way to train. You're not really getting anything out of that session. Your whole heart and soul and mind has got to be in that session. So I realized that I was overtrained. I changed that. And then, I was literally on top of the world. Like, I felt in the best shape of my life. My cardio was amazing, this and that. And then obviously another big factor as well, outside of all of that, was the boxing sparring, or doing, sparring where the guys really don't care about you. They just want to put you away. Oh, you're an MMA fighter? Okay, let's go and knock them out and show them what's going on. Do you know what I mean? So, and I'd boxed with some of the top boxers in Britain, and the fact that then after even just a month of training, I was able to hang in there and do well against these top level boxers, and everyone like coming up to me like what's your pro boxing record and stuff like that, But I needed that mentality. Those guys are trying to hurt me. Like, I think I got a concussion like one or two of those sparring sessions. Obviously, you don't want to get too much of that, but the point is, like, I needed to realize that you're not here to play games. You're here to put some damage on someone. So I would say, if anything was the biggest thing that I took from it, is to train smart, obviously the nutritional aspects, and you've got to be a killer in there. I think now when I come into every fight, I'm not just there to pick up a win. I'm there to hurt the guy whilst doing so.
Yeah, so you've just got the call a few months ago. You're in the UFC. What's a bigger moment, that or winning the world title for Cage Warriors?
Oh, do you know what? It's funny you ask that, because I remember when I won the Hamlet fight, I was such a massive underdog. Like, I don't know what the odds were. I mean, listen, I told every one of my mates, I was like, put those bets on me. Trust me, I won't let you down. And lo and behold, I managed to win, I think, a couple of my friends about 120 quid, which is pretty decent. But like, I remember the odds at the beginning, before I told them to do that, it was like 4-1 or something. Like, it was something pretty bad. Like, everyone thought that he's going to wipe the floor with me. He's going to go on his high horse off into the UFC in Copenhagen and this and that, and, and ride off into the sunset, and, literally just one fight in Cage Warriors, pick up the title and then get out of there. Like, at the end of the day, I saw that as a little bit of disrespect as well. I mean, I think that added fuel to my fire. So there's a lot going into that fight. Everyone counted me out. Everyone thought already, even when I was 6-2, when I just came back and won 2 fights in a row, people still didn't believe in me, didn't think I was going to do nothing. Oh, yeah, he's good, but is he really that good? And this and that. And then at the beginning of the year, I beat Wojciech. That's when I got people's attention. That's when my dad was like, listen, we need hard fights now. Let's go. Like, give us a big challenge. We took it on and done well. So, and then when I got the Hamlet fight, I knew I was going to win. Like, this is the thing. I went and saw John Jones at the Body Power Expo, and I actually handed him a sheet of paper. Do you know what? I might be able to. I've actually got it here. I'll show you. I've got it on a like framed or whatever. I mean, you can't really.
Oh, wow.
But it's got like different photos and stuff like that, and it's got like 3 photos of me and John Jones, and then one photo where it said, the present and the future and stuff like that. And then he signed it. And I wrote underneath, like, what the outcome of the fight was going to be. And I told John Jones, like, would you be able to sign my thing? And And it was crazy because when I saw him, he knew me straight away. Like, that was a really quite an empowering moment. Just like you coming back to see him after a couple of years, not, never really talking to him much. And then next thing you know, he knows exactly who you are, signs your sheet of paper. Like, it was like I hadn't left. Do you know what I mean? It was an amazing thing. Like I said, when your idol's there in front of you. Yeah. So, and then, when I went into the fight, like I said, I had a lot of things like, people not believing in me and this and that. And I want to prove everyone wrong. I'm like, listen, I'm going to go and take this title. You all think I'm down and out. You think I'm not going to do it. You think, oh yeah, he got taken down, so he's going to get, like, they don't know how I train. They don't know what I do. So at the end of the day, I know what I'm capable of, so I'm gonna show you what. They all think they're gonna wrestle me and just take me down to the floor and hold me. That ain't gonna happen. Like, they saw, like, this is the thing. They thought, oh yeah, he got taken down easy, but did you not see that I got back up to my feet every single time? Obviously, they focus heavily on that sort of game, and I know that my opponent went to train in big super camps and stuff like that, and I'm just like, listen, I've got a great group of guys. I've got great coaches. I believe in myself. I know what I'm capable of. I wasn't able to show what I was capable of. So that was the fight that I was like, I just want to show it. Like, this is the time. So when I won that fight, I had a whole load of emotion. Like, as much as, it was an amazing thing. Like, I was like, Dad, we've done it. Like, this is the thing that you told me when I was injured, when I'd lost, those 2 fights, when I lost a sponsor, I was split up with a girlfriend, no job, no money. You were telling me every single day, like, I can do it. I can be a world champion. Like, he was always telling me to never give up. He told me, you got the skill set, you've got everything. You just haven't shown it. You just need to go out there and do it. So after all of that, to then put the belt on his shoulder at the end of that whole journey was like, that was quite a special moment for me. Like, I'd pictured it in my head. I visualized it when I was going to sleep and stuff like that, thinking that that's what's going to happen. And then, lo and behold, it did happen. But I always knew I'd beat that guy. I knew he had no really no technical striking whatsoever. And I knew I could overcome his ability to try and pressure. That's why I stood straight away. And even in the first exchange, I knew he wanted to try and pressure me forward and walk me down. I stood there and slammed a jab and an overhand right. I'm telling him, like, I'm here to stay. As soon as I got out the second, third round, you could already tell his spirits were just completely depleted. Now, listen, don't get me wrong. He's an amazing athlete and a very good competitor. And, I really thank him for giving me that challenge and stuff like that. He is a really good fighter. You can't take nothing away from him. But when everyone's like really just making it out like I'm as if I'm a nobody, it gave me that extra fire to go and win. So obviously afterwards, because I visualized it so much, it felt like, I don't even know how to explain it, man. Like, it was like a mix of like, it was weird because when I defended the title, I didn't have that same feeling. I didn't have that same feeling of like, I can't believe it. Like, it's almost like when you're standing at the top of a mountain and you're seeing like the whole world from like a building or something, and it's just like seeing an amazing view. It wasn't like that when I defended the title. I'm like, well, this is like the next step in the road. Like, I'm ready for the next bit now. Whereas when I won the world title the first time, I'm like, well, now the dream of being in the UFC can actually become reality. Like, it's now even closer to that. And then when I defended the title, I'm just like, well, my skill sets have improved. I've done it, but now I'm ready for the next thing. I want to show myself on the world stage now. So, but yeah, when I got the call, it just, all the emotions that I had, like from winning the title, and I was just thinking back to my past. Like, I was thinking back to when I injured myself, when I lost two fights, and I was thinking, what did I feel then? And I'm like, the dream of being in the UFC, the thing that you've been wanting this whole time you've been in this, and when it looked like to everyone that you were never going to make it, and then you finally did, I just sat there and I'm just like, even when I got the call, I must have said like, wow, like literally, I said like, wow and no way, like literally like a freaking parrot for at least like 20 or 30 seconds. I just didn't know what to say when my manager told me, and like they were all laughing and smiling. I'm just like, are you for real? Like, do you know what I mean? So it was almost like I felt like I was a bit in a dream, but at the same time, I knew it was going to happen. I said, listen, I just won the world title. I just defended it. How could they not want to sign me now? Like, I almost thought it was But even then, I was ready. I'm like, listen, I'll defend my title if I need to. Like, I was just ready to pick up wins, pick up the experience, and get ready for whatever it was that they're gonna put in front of me. There was even talks that I would have to do the Contender Series, which I'm lucky that I got signed and I didn't do that route, because then that would have never happened. So it's been a crazy and amazing journey. But I think, looking back on all the memories, I'm so glad that the roller coaster went the way that it did, and there was a lot of ups and downs, because that's what's made me the fighter I am today. And along with all the lessons that I had, yeah, man, they're just very different feelings, I think, from winning the title the first time to getting signed by the UFC.
Well, first things first, it's amazing you have that thing with John Jones, being able to have someone like that, and Andrei Arlovsky, who I think you've trained with in the past, having guys like that who have been an influence on you when you started up your career, that has to be an amazing thing to have. And secondly, now that you're signed, this pandemic's really just delayed your debut. When are you ready to get back in there? And obviously, they just announced Fight Island. It's in Abu Dhabi. Is that something that is of interest to you?
Yeah, well, I can't say too much, but just know that that the Mo show is about to come into town. Like, I had a fight booked for May 16th, yeah, and that was supposed to be in San Diego, but obviously everything fell through that way. But it's coming. I know, and there's been so many people that have been asking me, that have been telling me, like, when's your debut, when's it all happen? Just know that it is coming sooner than you lot think. That's all I will say.
All right, I won't nag you any more than that. There's three fights that were announced today, three massive fights for UFC 251. We'll start with the main event. What's your prediction on that? Gilbert Burns and Kamaru Usman. First, is it the guy who you think deserves it? And secondly, what's your prediction?
Well, I would have loved to have seen the Jorge Masvidal fight, but I mean, listen, coming off the back of Gilbert Burns' last performance, that was amazing. Like, he literally just blitzed the former champion like as if it was nothing, and his striking looked crisp, his wrestling looked good, his jiu-jitsu is amazing as well. Obviously, he's competed at a very high level on those jiu-jitsu tournaments, so I'm giving him a lot of praise. Now, listen, Kamaru Usman is an amazing champion. He's literally beaten the best of the best, and he's climbed his way up the ranks and beaten some very good guys. He's got very good wrestling, he's got good striking, but in my personal opinion, I mean, I think that Gilbert Burns will win that fight. He just looks so much. He's very hungry. Like, I understand, obviously, being a champion, you're also going to be hungry to defend your title. But I think, like, the way he looked in that last fight against another top-level wrestler, his striking was crisp. He was aggressive. Like, he had a bit of a swagger about him. And, I think that will be able to combat what Kamaru Usman's able to do. Because I know Colby Covington did land some shots and stuff like that. And I think Gilbert Burns has a bit more of that venom behind his shots. So, but again, it is a 5-round fight. So, but it didn't look like Gilbert Burns was fading either. So, yeah, I think Gilbert Burns will win that fight. How? I'm not sure, but I'd probably go to decision, because Kamaru Usman is a good tough guy to crack. It's just really the question of whether Kamaru Usman can take him down, and then what will the jiu-jitsu do if he does take him down, and what's going to happen there. But I think Gilbert Burns probably has a slight edge on the striking, in my opinion.
And then I'll ask you the same sort of thing for the Volkanovski-Holloway fight. I think we already saw it. Do you think it plays out the same way, or do you think it ends differently?
It was a very close fight. Obviously, Volkanovski was clear on sort of the scorecards. They're always going to be improving, aren't they? I mean, listen, Max Holloway's going to keep improving, but then so again is Volkanovski. So, I mean, I think Max Holloway's a little bit younger. I think it will. See, the thing is, I don't know. Like, Max Holloway, he comes out in fights, and he's got a very slick sort of striking style. He's got a good way to defend the takedowns and stuff like that, and and he's, again, also very extremely tough. But I do think it will probably go the same way that it did the first fight. I mean, although they're amazing, both of them are amazing athletes. I don't really see, if they're all both improving at the same rate, I don't see it for it to go any other way, even though it was close the first time round. So I think not Volkanovski again will edge it.
All right, last question before I let you go. Obviously, you announced that you do have a fight. Can't say who, can't say where. What can we expect from you in your next performance?
Just expect, I think, the most dangerous, aggressive, flamboyant version of myself. I think people are really going to see now, like I said, the absolute best out of me. Because I think for a long time, it's taken me a while mentally to break through, to sort of let out my more vicious and dangerous techniques and to build the confidence and everything that's needed to go out and to literally perform at your best. It takes a lot, not just, through the training and the preparation, because, some people have seen me in the training room do some crazy things and they know what I'm capable of. So, and I've not even showed, even all of that, even with my last couple of fights. So just know that when it comes to me going inside that UFC octagon, I'm going to be putting all out on show. It's going to be explosive. It's going to be, like I said, flamboyant, and I'm going in there to finish the guy. My fight style is not to look for a decision. I'm going for the finish.
All right, perfect. I am looking forward to it, man. I appreciate you taking the time.
Nice
and whether
one.
It's on Fight Island, in the Apex, in the UK, it doesn't matter to me. I'm looking forward to that next fight.
Thank you so much, my brother. Really appreciate that. And I can't wait to put on a show for you.
All right, all the best.
All right, nice one. Take care, my man.